What's up guys? Today we're going to show you how to read a girl's mind over text. We're going to do this by breaking down several examples where I had to, with very little context, figure out what was going on, what was the real deal, so I could send the perfect text to get the date. Being able to decipher what the girl really means is a very useful skill to have. It would be awesome if we lived in a world where people were super direct and it's like, hey, I'm having a little bit of anxiety because I don't want to seem like a slut, blah, blah, blah. But it's usually not how it goes. Quite often girls can be a little vague, right? And sometimes they don't tell you anything at all. So you have to use the clues in the context of the situation to pick up on what the girl really means. And once you know what the girl really means, right, it's a lot easier to address the potential problem, right? And this is something that's a lot easier done over person. So when you're hanging out with a girl in person, you can see her body language and all those signs. When you're texting her, you have less information, right? However, it is still definitely doable. I'm pretty good at picking up on what really the girl is meaning, what is her objection, what is her concern, or what she really wants in this situation. So again, so I can be the guy that can address it accurately and get the date. So let's take a look at a few examples. I'll start off with a really, really easy one. And also there's definitely a big element of luck to this, right? So yeah, if you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If you take a shot, sometimes you miss, but then you can try again, right? But if you don't take a shot, if you don't take a guess, then you'll never know. So here's a good one. This one has a big element of luck, but this was also around 2015, when my text game was on the rise. Anyway, so I'm texting this girl, we have a date set up. I'm like, mind if we do 7? I'm running late. I was just about to ask you to reschedule. I've got training, so another time. So she's rescheduling, right? She's saying she can't do, but she's not giving me an alternative date, which to me suggests that she's not that interested, because if she was interested, she'd be like, hey, sorry, I can't make it tonight, but how about, Tuesday at 8 o'clock, right? Typically for girls vague like that, there's a lack of interest, or there's an unanswered concern or objection. Now, going through the girl's photos, I just had a feeling she was kinky. I could tell she was DTF, right? And again, you can tell that by seeing chokers on the girl, or she just has that kind of vibe, right? You're just like, yeah, this girl wants to get fucked, right? So I go with this, all right? But next time you switch up plans on me, I might have to spank you a little. And again, it was a little bit of a shot in the dark, but it worked. She says, training is canceled, let's do later, and you can spank me all you want. Literally, this text was the difference between me getting flaked on and me getting the date. And honestly, this was one of the easiest dates ever, right? So again, there's a little bit of an element of luck, but I was able to pick up on the sign that 1, the girl might just be lacking interest, right? It's not a legitimate reschedule. And 2, she's pretty DTF, so I might as well take that shot, and it worked, right? Let's take a look at one that's slightly more complex. So I'm texting with this girl, hey trouble, hey, how goes that Saturday? Pretty boring, to be honest, friends cancel plans. It's been homework and Hulu all day. So when a girl says pretty boring, to be honest, that typically means she's open to doing something more exciting, which means hanging out with you. I'm like, we should change this. While that sounds appealing, I unfortunately can't hang out this weekend. So this is interesting. She's saying she's bored. She's saying her friends canceled. So that means she was open to hanging out, but then for some vague reason, she can't hang out with me. And she's saying for the weekend. So what does that mean? It's probably her period, right? Like, what else could it be? Why else, is she sitting at home bored with all her friends canceled, right? And she doesn't have other plans. And why can't she hang out with a guy who has a sexual bio? Oh, because she's on her period. So again, I say, is the red fairy in town? She's like, well, that was straightforward, but yeah, I'm pretty good at picking up on cues. Fortunately, that never bothered me, really. I feel like that probably gross out most guys. Yep, it's no big deal. Just put down on the bell. But bam, date is on track. Wound up meeting up with her the following day. We wound up hooking up. And then a little bit later, we actually wound up having a threesome with another girl. So the fact that I was able to read the situation worked out quite well for me. So this is a chick I was talking to for a while, right? And she was always so hard to meet up with. She would agree, then she would reschedule, blah, blah, blah. And what she would do, this is actually pretty funny, whenever she would flake, she would just send me a picture of her tits as if like a consolation prize. So I'm like, every time you'd meet up, you disappear and then send me a tit pic a few days later. My apologies, I promise I'm real and show my tits. Okay, we should give this another shot then. Here it goes. Here's the problem. You're only 28. I'm looking for more. I've had a crash and burn with a 30-year-old. It doesn't work. I'm very attracted to younger, but realistically, I need an older guy for what I want. Meaningless sex is fun but empty. So what is she getting there? Well, she's saying she's attracted to younger guys, but it doesn't work out. Why is that? Well, probably because younger guys are looking for more casual. Why she says I need an older guy for what I'm looking for, it means she wants something more than a one-night stand, right? So I'm able to gather that information that this chick is DTF, but she doesn't want to be like pumped and dumped. She wants a guy she can consistently hang out with, right? So then once I have that information, I say this: age is just a number. I've dated women from early 20s to late 40s. It always came down to the person, not the year and the driver's license. One big plus I found with older women is higher sex drive and typical better communication, which matches with me. And here it goes. Higher sex drive doesn't mean, doesn't describe I want to be someone who wants to be with me, not me, Sally and Shirley. So again, she's saying that, hey, I want something a little bit more serious, right? And again, because I addressed this text in a very mature way, I was able to get that. If I said something like, oh, don't worry, I'll fuck you so good that you'll forget about those older guys. Like, bam, I would have been done. She would not have responded. But again, I sent her more serious text, communicating to her that, hey, listen, I'm not like those other younger guys. Like, I actually have the maturity of an older guy. That is basically what I'm trying to communicate without saying that directly, because if I say that directly, she's just gonna think I'm telling her what she wants to hear, right? So this is kind of the art of communication. Is there's the surface level, but then there's the deeper level, right? And you have to be able to operate on both. So here's a very interesting one. We're talking back and forth. This actually in DMP. Lucky and cute mama, you may just be my type. She's like, oh really, what's that? To be honest, I don't have a type. People always roll their eyes when I ask that. If you ask me, my friends, they'll say the same, I don't have a type. I literally go based off whoever I feel connection with. And honestly, that's kind of a lie. Pretty much every girl has a type. Some have more of a type than others. So she's saying, you may just be my type. Oh really, why's that? Now, this one is just a standard text that I have found that works well, and that's basically doing a cold read on a girl for something that's going to apply to the vast majority of girls, and you customize it a little bit. Well, for starters, you're quite cute, submissive, tattoos, great smile, feminine, normal, possible nice booty, adventurous, active, innocent with a wild side, enjoy dominant man who can take control. Aside from the tattoos, this will apply to 95% of girls. Right, like any girl who just looks like, you know, your regular cute girl, it will just probably apply to. Pretty much all girls are sexually submissive. Pretty much all girls enjoy a dominant man who can take control. So this is a little bit of a truism that's going to apply to everyone, right? Again, but take a look at what she says. You got all that based on my photos. So I want to ask, how do you know I'm submissive? Also, the booty is a plus or minus. That picture makes it look amazing. So she's like, how do you know I'm amazing? And later on, she was like, holy shit, how do you know me so well? Like, how did you figure all this out, right? Again, it's just a cold read, but you can gather that by looking at a photo of a girl. She's got tattoos. She looks cutie. She looks like she's kind of DTF. It's a very safe bet to assume that. Also, another big factor is that he has a sexual bio. So if she matches with a guy who has a sexual bio, chances are that she's sexually submissive because in the bio it says dominant. So you have to kind of piece all these clues together. Let's take a look at two more. So this is a chick that Indian P had plans with, and then she's like, I'm not sure about tomorrow yet. That's a very vague answer. Usually if a girl has a legitimate reason why she can't make it, it'll be something like, oh yeah, you know, I had this thing pop up, but maybe if we do this time, blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing as the first example. It's a lack of interest. That's the reason she's saying, I'm not sure about tomorrow. It's like, if nothing better comes along, you know, maybe I'll meet up with you, right? And again, here the thing is to figure out how we can build her interest. So it's like, well, if you're too nervous, I don't understand. I'm debating, well, haha, the presidential kind of debate, yes, who's winning, the lame you or the fun you? So he's kind of framing it, right, is that she's gonna be more positive, like more fun if she does the meetup, right? It's a very interesting way to frame that, right? Because if she flakes, then she's being lame, right? It's a very good way of framing that. So she's like my Libra indecisive wasteful. But again, don't get this confused. It has nothing to do with her astrological signs, it has nothing to do with anything else. It's simply a lack of interest. You just need a guiding hand. I'll Uber you to me. We can FaceTime 2 hours tops. I'll Uber you back. But if you're not that adventurous, that's totally okay. Right? So now he's kind of amping up the bargain. 1, she doesn't have to pay for the Uber. 2, the date is not going to last that long. 3, we can FaceTime beforehand so he's not catfish. Now that kind of ups the stakes. You only want to hang out for 2 hours, though. Barrier of low entry since you're being indecisive. I'm getting my nails done. I can call you after I'm free. Sounds good. Call me when you're done. I'm not wearing any makeup. Why? I mean, actual phone call. I look like a mess, but right, blah, blah, blah. And actually, this winds up leading to a date. So again, that's kind of how you do it. You kind of up the ante and give the girl a little bit more incentive, right? Again, making things simpler for her because she's like, in a girl's mind, when she's like indecisive about meeting, she's like, yeah, this could be fun, but she could also be a catfish. It might be awkward. We hang out for like 5 hours. I don't know how to leave. It might be like, annoying. It might be like, a waste of time, right? But then you're like, oh, well, it's only going to be 2 hours. That takes that away. We're going to FaceTime beforehand. Okay, this guy's pretty decisive. That means he's dominant, and it's a good thing, right? So kind of upping the ante. Something I would say in a situation like that also is, oh, I can throw in one of my famous massage she's to show up. Let's take a look at one last example. This is probably the hardest one. This is like the final boss level that you have to beat. All right, so this one, the conversation was very sexual leading up to this. Me and this girl made concrete plans. We're supposed to meet the following day, right? It was sexual, it was on, everything was confirmed. And then day of the date, she says, hey Alex, I think our meeting won't go with the plan you have in mind. Meeting with strangers for one thing is not my cup of tea. I thought it might work, but it won't, so I don't want to waste your time. Okay. There's clearly some kind of unanswered concern or objection why she's bailing last minute, right? So I have to figure out what it is. So I tried the most direct approach, which is ideal, but quite often doesn't work. Where's this coming from? And she doesn't respond. And the reason girls don't respond is sometimes because they're embarrassed, sometimes because they're just taking the path of least resistance and they don't want to talk about it, or quite often they might not even know what the issue is, right? They just have this weird feeling in their stomach and that's why they're flaking. They don't really know what the objection is. So here I tried calling her, she doesn't pick up. I'm like, I can't seduce you with my Spanish if you don't pick up. Oh, she's like, oh man, no seducing. I'm like, lol, can you tell me what your concerns are? I liked how open-minded you were and was looking forward to meeting you. And she's like, we didn't talk much, so you can't tell if I'm open-minded. It's not equal to sexually open. I want to meet you, but I'm not interested in having sex with a stranger, so don't want to waste your time. Now I know this is a smokescreen because the day before, she was very, very sexual. Like the conversation was very sexual, it was very flirty. So she wants to have sex, but there's something else that's preventing her from having sex. Okay, let's try to figure out what it is. So here I hit her with like a playful takeaway, and like, you suddenly hate sex or something. So again, that's supposed to be humor, and what I'm trying to do here is slightly more indirect, is for her to be like, no, but blah, blah, blah is the issue. Once I know the issue, then I can address it. She's like, yeah, such a big turnoff in my life. So she's kind of going through with the sarcasm, which again is not what I want. I'm like, let's be honest, you were super down yesterday and this morning, you're doing complete 180. It's totally normal to get cold feet or get nervous. So here I'm taking a shot in the dark, and I'm like, well, you know, she's DTF, but she doesn't want to meet. Probably because she's nervous, right? She's getting cold feet, stranger danger. She's like, it was yesterday, I'm not today. So it's like, I took a shot, and if I could, you know, it doesn't land. So I'm like, are you worried about being judged or me thinking you're easy? Because again, if it's not stranger danger, then maybe she has an objection thinking that, you know, I'm gonna think she's a slut, especially because I was in Poland at the time, and they have a lot of, you know, like slut shaming and stuff over there. It's a little bit more conservative. She's like, none of it. It's just not what I want, what I do. Okay, there's gotta be some other reason. So at this point, I'm just using process of elimination. Well, it's not anxiety. I know the conversation was sexual before, so she's horny, right? So it's not that. It's not her period, because if it was her period, she probably would have said, oh, I can't meet blah, 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 but I can meet in a few days. You know, it's not me judging her, thinking it's easy. What else is left? Oh, she's a virgin. So I'm like, so you're a virgin? And she's like, dot, dot, dot. It's like, bam, bullseye. I'm like, it's okay if you are. Will you be gentle with me? Yes, I can be. Oh man, let's chat on the phone for a minute or two. Okay, and now she's actually down to chat on the phone, right? Because again, I figured out her concern objection. She feels like I understand her. We semi-dealt with the objection. Again, a phone call is gonna make it even easier. And then we spoke on the phone for like 10 minutes. Super like easygoing, fun conversation. She was totally down. She wound up coming over, and I wound up taking her virginity. But again, the only reason that was able to happen is because I was able to, through the process of elimination, figure out what she was actually getting at. And once you figure something out, it's a lot easier to address it. All right, hopefully you guys found this video valuable. In case you're having a hard time reading my mind, what I would like everyone to do is to smash the like button, hit subscribe, click the bell for notification, and please share this video with a friend, because that really helps in the algorithm. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time.